Hello, everyone.
I'm starting to feel like a snow person already, and it's not even winter yet.
We're just
Not
finally getting rid of our snow.
not favorite, my favorite part of the year, I have to say. But anyway.
Well, it is a beautiful day here.
That's
And
awesome.
we're getting beautiful weather for the weekend. And so I am feeling really good about it because the wind, I think, is finally going to warm up. So
Just turn around. Maybe the background is a little bit better. I'm actually fur babysitting, and I'm just so glad to be here because a friend of mine actually passed away, and her memorial service is next week. So I don't want to go away. So
I'm sorry
a
to
friend
hear
who's
that.
having a birthday, I'm going to be seeing next week for her birthday anyway. So I managed to be here today. Yay!
Awesome.
Yay.
Yeah.
Happy to have you, but sorry to hear that.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, no, it's okay. It's okay.
Well,
Thank you.
and thank you, Alana, for getting everything set up for us. That is most appreciated. You genius, because techie girl.
Oh, good. So for those that are watching, we obviously have our new YouTube channel up, the Secret Wisdom Circle. So follow along, subscribe. We're gonna keep continuing to put that stuff up there. So our beautiful conversations.
Oh, that's awesome.
So fabulous. So
So I'm very happy to be here too. It's a heck of a week.
Sounds like it.
Well, my partner started with the pneumonia, and then I got it.
Oh,
And so the universe is slowing me down, and I think clearing a lot of old. That's the only way that I can look at it, is it's somehow, and I'm doing it more the homeopathic route rather than antibiotics. And I seem to kind of be where he's at on the antibiotics. So I think I'm doing good.
good. Yeah, I feel there's a lot of that detoxing after March. And I am in the same boat, Pamela. I woke up just started yesterday kind of with a fever and sore throat and kept waking up during the night. And I just thought, you know what? I'm detoxing. I choose to believe that. And I had started also a new workout routine. And I always find that when you start, like about a week after you get into it, you get sick. And it's just detoxing out of my muscles. That's all.
Moving
So
things, yes.
yeah, we're staying in that mindset.
I've been feeling rather ungrounded this week, feeling like I'm a little bit, I mean, physically I'm fine. I have no colds or sniffles or anything like that, but I've just been feeling very spacey again this week, especially yesterday and today. Like,
I can't
yeah.
believe it's the 4th already. Like it feels like, again, this time has just slipped away for me this week. That it's like there hasn't been a ton of things. My calendar wasn't super full, but it seems like it was busy and like it was very, like you said, it's not quite not settled, I guess is the best way to put it.
Yeah. I mean, today I'd completely forgotten that it was Friday today, and I missed an appointment with my two clients that are working through the business yogi. Completely missed it. Not
That's-
even on my radar. You guys were on my radar, but that wasn't.
That's exactly the message coming through. Actually, when I sat here this morning and thought about us meeting, and I was like, okay, what's message? What are our topics for today? It was eliminate distractions as much as you can, get quiet, simplify. And this message is for long term, not just
Yeah.
now. It is a long term, you know what? We're in shifts and changes, and things are not going to just get fixed, right? It's about really, okay, what's my new lifestyle now? Because we can't keep going the way we were going, and there's so much energies going on, and we're feeling them. So how do I simplify my life? What do I let go of? How can I be living a much more simpler life and growing energetically, like ascension, right? It's what it is. It's the frequency, the energy of ascension, and to stay in your center. Very, and AI is coming in too, so we need to talk about that.
Well, let's
Janice,
talk.
Well,
Sounds good.
first,
I'm in.
before we get
first,
into that, I think the other thing, just to build on what you're saying, Janice, is that what used to work doesn't anymore. So whatever our go-to was, is not happening anymore. It's just not working. And that for me is why the pause is so important, is just to be still and just to allow and even in this feeling of being all over the place, just to be all over the place, because there's nothing much else. There's nothing that I can do about being all over the place. I just need to be all over the place for now, and the energies will settle. They always do.
I hear you
and
too on
just
the simplifying. It's like even in my business and what I'm doing, it's like, why am I trying to do all these different things where, like you said, it's just what feels right for me and how can I make it, like you said, simple so that I know exactly what I'm doing and how I'm operating and the same message and like all of these things instead of, like you said, Angela, being all over the place of I felt that, in my business and in life. And it's like, you know what? There's too much going on. I would love to just, like you said, just live a simple, not simple, but you know what I mean? Like an easy
Yeah.
understanding without needing to have all the extra things going on in my head.
Hmm.
Right.
Yes, and I've noticed that, I thought it was a little bit of age as I get older. It's like I can't multitask like I used to. And my brain gets tired and I need to I need to honor that. And so it's like and like you said, Pamela, and for me, it's like, do we have space in our life right now to self-care through this detoxing? And if
oh
we
yeah.
don't, yeah.
And that's for me what this whole week has been, I think, about working with people like 5, 6, 7 people a day, helping them in their journeys and their healing process. I'm, honored to be able to do that. But I've had to turn people away this week, and there's that part of me that goes, oh my goodness. I mean, people are understanding. There's no doubt about that. But it's making myself that priority. But it's also, I think, leading to that shift of where I want to go with you guys globally. This feels right. Like I was going to be doing everything that I could possibly do to make sure that I'm here, right? Like I'm committed to this because I'm getting my truth bumps because it's where we're meant to be.
Yeah.
And I think the old way of doing things, believe it or not, is, as much as I love the work I do, is getting more difficult because it's not energetically aligned with where I'm at. Not that I'm not going to be helping people, but there's another way of being able to do it, but more on the self-help aspect where my energy isn't going to be taken through that process too, right? Because as much as I protect myself, energies are connected.
Yeah.
Energies
Yep.
are going to impact.
Yep.
So real eye-opening in that regard.
It's also what you were saying now is it's also about the allowing. It's about the permission. I think we've spoken a little bit about that before. But it's also, like this morning, I'm going, how could I do this? And what are these people, the normal old noise in our heads, what are these people going to think? I missed the freaking call. La, la, la. And that story wanted to have its space. And I'm just kind of going, okay, I've heard you. That's enough. Now off we go. I'm not going down that rabbit hole anymore. And it's, it's all these things. It's about surrender. It's about permission. It's about forgiveness. It's about all these so-called, and I love it when people call them the soft skills, and I just want to have a cadenza. It's the hard stuff. This is the hard stuff. It's the other stuff. That outside stuff is the easy stuff. This work, the inner work, is the stuff that is hard. And I think the thing that I value so much about our conversations is that we're digging deep, but we're also doing it together. We're not doing it on our own. We're not trying to figure this out on our own. And Alana, I just want to go again, say thank you for putting this together, where we do get to come together to be able to talk through and work this stuff through, and be it, not just do it.
And in the sharing of it, it's going to help so many more people, right? It's going to give people those aha moments for themselves. And they come to their own understanding. And I think that's what I absolutely love about this. It's not us teaching something. It's just sharing from our experiences and the wisdom that we've gained over the years. And there is no doubt in my mind that the universe has orchestrated this. And I'm grateful for Alana, just as everyone else here is, for her stepping up in the way that she has. And all of us, bringing our energies and our wisdom and our unconditional love. Like, you hear emotion, you hear the cold, but you hear emotion too, because that is so strongly felt. And what I love about that is people don't understand, it doesn't matter what time and distance there is, that energy is felt.
And yeah, I mean, this is proof positive. Here I am sitting in Johannesburg, and all of you guys are sitting in Canada, and it's 7 o'clock at night for me, and still daytime for you. And it's as though we're sitting next door to each other.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Just amazing.
And the part of being allowing ourselves to be led by the nudges, the intuition, where Alana was like, got these names up on my bulletin board, and
Yep.
somehow we're going to be pulling together. And that is really that energy, that guidance energy, when you have the space in your life to allow that. That is profound. And that's where the magic is. That's truly where the magic is. And so if you have a jam-packed full schedule, you're not creating space for spirit. And you're in the driver's seat controlling it all. And there's always like this, like, well, you are in the driver's seat. You do get to choose. There is this sovereignty that you are responsible for to get in and go and say, this is where we're going, universe, let's do this. But that comes with an openness to, balancing that. Well, what's in my heart and what's leading me? Where am I feeling myself guided to? Because it might not be that 9 to 5 job, which a lot of people are feeling, right? And which is beautiful, right? Because there are some people that will continue to want that structure in their life, and yay, because it leaves space for those of us that can't do that, right? And it's like, nope, I just need more space. Cannot do that routine anymore.
Absolutely. I mean, my business has been divinely led the whole way. Even when I'm working with clients, I'm guided. Once they've given permission coming in working with me, spirit guides everything that I'm saying, doing with them. And I'm grateful to know that difference. But it's now listening to the divine for myself personally, in the sense that, okay, I've fulfilled that aspect. Now, okay, move on, so to speak. Not to take away from what I've done, but it's okay. What's the next step? What's the next level? How am I feeding and fueling my soul in the process? Because I think that's one of the big things with all of us. We can give, but what's reciprocal? You feel the difference in that.
Yeah.
Right? So that reciprocal aspect here, get that tenfold. Right? So us getting that tenfold then has the ripple effect for the world around us. And that's how I'm looking at things and starting to navigate it a little bit differently and saying, thank you, universe. Thank you for the guidance for myself. Because a lot of times we miss it. Even when we are spiritual and understand and have an understanding, it is that element of we can miss it.
Yeah.
I'll never forget something that I heard a long time ago. Elaine Van Zandt was on Oprah Winfrey, and it just happened to me, one of those God shot moments where I turned on the television. The children were still small. My ex-husband had just left, and I had these two little ones, 4 and 2. And I turned the TV on the one day, and Elaine Van Zandt was on with Oprah Winfrey. Literally 30 seconds after I turned the TV on, I heard her say, "You can't give from an empty cup." And that's, that reciprocity energy of receiving in order to give. We've done all the giving and not allowed ourselves to receive. And now the 360, or not 360, the 180-degree turnaround is we are receiving so we can give. And we're receiving from spirit so that we can give. And it's just, what it's done for me is that it's taken me to a place where I don't need to know. That control, that need to control, that need to know what's next, I don't need to know that at all. I just need to be open to whatever guidance I'm getting from whomever, whether it's something I've read, whether it's meditation, whether it's something one of you have said in our very magical and beautiful calls. I don't need to have, what a relief to not to have all the answers anymore. That in itself creates space.
Yes.
Such a freedom.
And not to need the answers. So, and I want to, sorry, Alana, I want to leave space for you to chat.
Go
But
ahead.
that whole receiving energy comes in so many different forms. And I think there's a lot of learning around the receiving of money, financial abundance, so that you can keep going. And also the need for that, like the need for, oh, I have to have more money in order for me to feel safe and secure. Um, there's a big lesson in there of saying, okay, yes, I get to receive and be in comfort and get to serve and not have to starve or struggle to meet my bills as I'm doing this beautiful spiritual work. But also the energy of but you know what? Today everything is taken care of. And that release of that tension of striving for the need for more, right? That um safety and security, that, oh, I won't feel safe and secure. The reason people really want a lot more money or want to win the lottery is so that they can relax and feel freedom and feel safe. Whereas let's do it the other way around. Let's feel that way first. And then like really reach for that within you. What do you need to feel safe and secure right now?
That's
And
such a brilliant question.
so it's something that's been coming up a lot in my groups because I have a program called Soulfully Aligned and Rich, and it triggers a lot of people. It
Right?
triggers them, the word rich. So it's been great conversations about, you know what? You didn't come here to struggle and be in scarcity. Your natural um, gift or your natural state is abundance. So it's only the man-made limitations that have put us into that, struggle and scarcity mindset. But on the other side of that coin is like, well, what would make you feel safe and secure today?
Yeah.
Right. And so I love that. Yeah.
Well, and this kind of encompasses, like, we've almost circled back around, in my opinion, of like these pieces are what's needed to create the abundance, is having space, creating space in our life and to be in flow, like we talked about earlier. And it's connecting all of these pieces, like the other piece of living in alignment and allowing our intuition to allow us to guide, like we talked about, just the four of us connecting, be from a list of names of, we needed to do this and I didn't know how to put it together, but it's just allowing that to be the inspiration that starts the conversation. And so when you have all these pieces, the inspired, the having space to let that inspiration to come in and feeling that safety and security, all of those pieces kind of are hand in hand, in my opinion, about how we bring in that abundance.
Yeah.
We're interconnected.
It's, again, I mean, the journey over the last few weeks has just been so interesting around abundance and the receiving, the open to receiving. And it's so much the inside out job. But I think the thing, certainly for me for a long time, it was all here, was abundance in my head. Doesn't happen until we drop into our heart. I remember somebody saying the most difficult journey is 18 inches between our head and our heart.
Yeah.
Dropping into our heart. This is not, you can't, yeah, we end up thinking, but it comes off the being. It's not the other way around. We try to think and then be. Now it's about being and then thinking. That's the reversal of the energy. And it's just been, Janice, what you've just said as well is, I am, as a soul, the universe, not only is the universe abundant, but I am part of the universe. I'm part of the stardust. I'm part of the abundance. And for me, it's still quite challenging in the sense that COVID, and I know it was 5 years ago, as I was told the other day at the tax people, it was 5 years ago. Yeah. But COVID wiped everything out for me, everything from money, from finance, from business, and I'm still rebuilding. And the interesting thing now is that I'm not rebuilding out of fear.
Yay.
I'm building one day at a time, the next piece, the next step, in faith, in trust, and with this incredible sense of just the fact that we can have these conversations and we can be in, all of us be in that space where we have the freedom of time abundance to be and do who it is that we are, that we have the space to be able to engage in these conversations together and individually on our own, journaling, whatever it is that we're doing. That for me has brought in a level and a layer of abundance that's got nothing to do with money, absolutely nothing.
Right.
But the abundance that comes from that is incredible. And the freedom, as you were saying, Pamela, the freedom, can't put a price on this freedom. No amount of money would I give this away for. Nothing would I give it away for.
I love the thing that you said there too, Janice, about, or sorry, Angela, is when you created the business before COVID and
Yeah.
the energy in which you're creating the business now. Like, what a shift that we've had from that space to now, right?
And I know
Yeah.
for myself, 2020 was when I boomed. But it was direct faith. Like, I didn't get caught up in the narratives and the stories. And when I did, I'm human, I would catch myself and go, I just need to be neutral in this. I don't need to take sides. I need to do what I need to do in order to align with the work that I do, being in an industry where you had to have vaccines, you're working with people, right? It's that whole element. I learned through that, everybody still struggles with the whole vax, whether it's right or wrong. And I'm going to say it doesn't matter. It's not right or wrong. It's whatever your journey is with it, right? And this is what people can learn from, is that everybody's journey, there is no right or wrong. There's no good or bad, right? And to impose a view on somebody is not going to be helpful. But trusting in the divine that I was exactly where I needed to be, and literally building my business weekly by saying, oh, I need 10 clients, by the end of the week. And I would get 6 to 8. That literally was how I was doing it. And now I don't have to worry about that. Now it's like the word of mouth is incredible. And it's, I'm so grateful for that. But now when you're working that much, you're starting to go back into the old construct, right? And that's not where I know I'm meant to be. My partner is 70. I'm 63. It's doing what I can, but enjoying my life in the process. Because when I'm filling my cup and enjoying it, boy, the magic that you bring to the table is pretty incredible.
It's so interesting because I'm smiling when I look back to 2020 and talking about what I needed at that time. I needed everything to implode the way that it did. It completely. I was in my Saturn return through COVID and it was a Lulu, let me tell you. Everything. When I say everything, I mean everything collapsed. But I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now, how I'm doing it, and I certainly wouldn't have met you guys. And I wouldn't be part of this conversation. So in the grand design of the universe, everything is always perfect. No matter how it was horrible, I won't even, not a word of a lie. It was freaking awful, awful, but so necessary. And coming out on the other side of it, I am so grateful. So, so, so grateful.
That's
So
beautiful.
funny how the contrast shows up, right? And you're like, in the moment of it, you're like, what the heck is going on here? Why is this happening? I had something that happened this week that for me that was like, why is this happening? We think, the to me, but it's for me. And even so, I spent, instead of like just looking at that example or what I went through this week of, instead of being in that energy, and I loved the way I could recognize how I would have responded before all of this to now, where it's like now I literally sat in it going, okay, so what is this teaching me? What am I being prepared for? And how am I? And then even within like a few, like I went to sleep that night and then the next morning I was like, it all just kind of unfolded of like, oh, this is why this happened. Instead of being caught up in the, oh my gosh, all this drama in my life for what? It was literally like, oh, I needed to put these mechanisms in place for that to not to happen again. But if I hadn't had this awareness, it would have been a much more difficult situation.
Yeah. And the theme here is receiving.
Yeah.
Oh,
And we receive
fully.
exactly what we need.
That's
Exactly.
right. Well, and being open to it, right? And knowing, trusting, like, okay, so leaning into that trust, leaning into that faith, that's a whole other conversation too. That has been in my life in the past very difficult to do because, it felt like anytime I did that, everything fell apart. So I always felt like, oh, okay, universe, I'm going to give you this much time to pull it together. And then I'm taking over. So I was always at the last minute jumping in, right? And taking control. But
Right.
now, yeah, now, like you said, Alana, it's like, no, I'm just gonna lean back and wait and see what happens here and feel into the guidance. And it's always so beautiful. But it can be hard to do. It can be very hard to let go. And it's not an easy thing, but you do it little by little and build the trust up.
and that safety and security you spoke about, the control gives people that false sense of it,
Yes,
Yeah.
right?
it
So
does.
it's natural and it's normal living in this human experience that we want to control. I remember years ago going, oh, I don't control people, I'll control outcomes, but I don't control people. And in that moment, I was like, wait a minute, what am I saying to myself? Like, you have to control people, right? It was just one of those how we will deceive ourselves or convince ourselves. But it's that control. Once we actually understand that we're not in control of the outcomes, yes, we have choices. Yes, we are responsible for our feelings and our reactions and our behaviors and what we're choosing to be in, but the outcome isn't up to us.
Yeah.
Oh,
We
there's
have our
so much going on. Yeah.
Mhm.
We're part of that intricate weaving of tapestry in the world. So we have no idea, what else we're being lined up for, or we're lining up for someone else.
And more is going to be revealed. It always is. I love putting one of my favorite hobbies at the moment is just putting the question out to the universe and then waiting and getting on with other stuff. Or it doesn't have to be this all-consuming, occupying my mind that I have to try and figure it out. I don't try to figure things out anymore.
Yeah.
And that's another one of the elements of releasing so we can receive. Because if I'm trying to figure it out, I'm limiting what the universe can actually do. It's not up to me to figure it out. It's up to me to serve from whatever spirit is bringing through, in order to be able to do what we're here to do and to be a part of this shift and the vibrational and consciousness change that's going on in the world. And it's exciting. I get so excited, like my inner child gets so excited about the possibilities of what can be happening. She's having the best time ever, ever.
I love that.
I feel that
Well,
too. Every time I get into that space of like the possibility, the opportunity, like what the potentials that are out there, like we have so much that we have, like you said, about the limitation. If we could let go of how we think we needed to happen, and because we are limited in our mind, and allow the universe to do its job and do what it's supposed to do, and trust that, like you said, Jed, is having faith and have trust in it. There is things happening that we can't even orchestrate in our own mind that we could even potentially come up with a plan, right? And like you said, when we want to control it, Pam, it's like we're limiting it so much, and there's so much more out there if we just let it, like you said, it's just so exciting to think of like all of the incredible, amazing possibilities that could come through.
Somebody
and
said that,
sorry.
sorry, the other day, if we actually knew what the grand design was that higher power has in store for us, we'd all run away and hide.
Like
Because it
we
is
have
so,
big feet.
and so we are only given pieces a little bit at a time so that we can actually fulfill that piece before the next piece comes in. And it's just this incredible divine orchestration that's coming from the world of spirit. And that our higher power's vision is much bigger than what we could ever dream of.
Well, and higher perspective. But so the one thing too is for those, it's really the majority of people are still really struggling to let go of because of the fear. There's a massive amount of fears. And we're not just pawns in the universe that are getting moved around out of our control. So a lot of people are like, what do you mean this lean in and trust? How can I trust? It's like because the universe knows what is in your heart, knows what your desires are, and is so ready to give you more than you could ever even imagine. So when you can lean into the trust that, yes, we're in a beautiful, loving, supportive world in this universe, Christ consciousness, God energy, whatever you call it, source, it is it is working for you. Working
100%.
for you, loving, supportive, just like a parent would be. Like you would never want to, put your child through punishment in order for them to learn. That's not how the universe works. It's a loving support of like, I can help you. I can help you.
And it's funny, Janice, because you talk about the fears.
Mhm.
Fears and self-love are the two blocks,
Yeah.
right? That fear, first of all, comes from not loving ourselves, not really understanding ourselves, right?
Yes.
Through this human experience. And that's, these our human experiences are helping us to get there. They're all purposeful. And I say the biggest downfall being human is we have the intellect, right? We're no different than a seed being planted. That seed being planted grows through the darkness. And the difference is it doesn't resist. It hits a rock, it grows through it, it grows around it. Our obstacles, our darkness, we second guess, we, try to control, we question, and that is what blocks us instead of just keep moving forward, one step in front of the other and growing and knowing we will be led and we will blossom into what we're meant to be and where we're meant to be. That's the difference. This intellect sometimes often gets in our way.
Yeah. And a good question just to contemplate on for everyone is how can I allow more love in? And then we're not looking at love from other people. We're looking at that high love, that high potent love. How can I let more love in? And just contemplate that over a few days, and you will get the answers. You will be shown how you can let more in. And it comes often through people in ways where they go, well, let me help you with that. No, it's okay. I got it. How can you let more love in? Right?
Yes.
I did learn that lesson a few years ago from my own, like my husband. He's just, that knight in shining armor kind of guy. He wants to help and he opens doors and carries heavy things for me. And I was feeling very much like, no, I don't want to be a burden. And I also, if anything happens to you, I don't want to be left helpless, right? So I got this. I'm doing it. I've got, strong woman powers here. And then I realized that I wasn't letting him love me, right? I was blocking his love. So when people reach out to help you and support you, that's the universe saying, let more love in and be open to it and receive it. Here we go.
Yeah, I was just going to say the receivership, 100%.
Yes. It's funny because I pulled a card before we got on and I had showed it to you. So this is my favorite deck is Kyle Gray. Angels and Ancestors. And this is the card called Lady, and it is all about receiving and reaping rewards for all your hard work. So
That is
funny that
awesome.
we just happened to be talking about that.
Of course.
Yes.
Well, I pulled a card called Shakti because I have a deck called Journey of Love. And the message is you're going through energetic shifts in your subtle anatomy because your energy body and physical body have already begun to merge with each other. The energetic shifts will allow and affect the body too. It's always wise to consult with a healthcare professional, but at least some of your physical challenges at the moment, from aches and pains to tiredness, are due to this energetic awakening.
Well, if that ain't a sign.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's
So,
fabulous.
I mean, it's understanding that there is purpose in everything, even when we're feeling a little under the weather, right?
Yeah.
Um,
All of it is about restoring our disconnect from source.
yeah.
Mhm.
All of it, that's what it is. It's all that, is that it's repairing that disconnect, restoring, renewing. And it's just so interesting for me as we sit and kind of really digest the conversation, is how much of this resides in the feminine energy. And that the masculine, Janice, you're talking about your husband, that's not the savior, the protector energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So profound in a man who's well balanced in both his divine feminine and his sacred masculine. But so much of what we're talking about, the flow, the grace, the faith, the trust, all of those things, the patience, they're all coming out of the feminine energy. Everything's about we're co-creating with universe, with source, higher power, whatever we want to call that
Mhm.
magical being.
Yeah.
We can't sit by anymore and just be passive recipients. That's not how it works. It's around how we co-create with source and with one another. And that's also what brings love in.
Absolutely. That co-creation piece is huge, and it's one that I've been teaching for a while now. And it's based on the energy. Our thoughts are energy, our feelings are energy, right? Our judgments, our criticisms, whatever we're doing is energy. So the universe reinforces what it is we're putting out there.
Mhm.
So when you understand that to the full extent, you start to make some changes, right? It's that element of, okay, what do I want to receive more of? So if I'm in the judgment and the criticism of anything, right, I'm only going to receive more things to be judging and criticizing. And it sure isn't going to help me to bring in and receive the love that I'm looking for,
It
right?
comes back.
I'm not going to love myself either in the end.
It comes back to me from the lighthouse. Is the light, where all the globes and things, is that glass clean and clear in terms of what we're emitting, or is it all dirty and hasn't been looked after, so the beam of light can't get out anywhere anyway? And yeah, so for me, it's again, and it takes every single day a little bit of polishing here and a little bit of polishing over there, and just being mindful and being aware.
Yeah, that awareness is huge, right? Just awareness. That's the beginning of it all.
Yeah.
And giving yourself some grace and some slack,
Hmm.
right? Not putting super high expectations on yourself of what it's supposed to look like.
Yeah, absolutely. Beautiful.
Alana, you're too quiet over there.
What? I'm chatting too. I'm so curious as to what Janice wanted to talk about before we get
About
too
the
far
AI?
into AI.
Oh, yeah.
Prime for that one.
I'm
Okay.
curious too.
Okay. It's so amazing because it's such an amazing tool.
Yeah.
It is so intuitive. It can be such a time saver for all of us. But there is and we've had some fun even in my communities of like, hey, post this and see what AI says to you. Like it can pull out your, shadows and blocks and all this stuff. But at the same time, it's like we have to be very discerning of how we're using it, which we've heard, but very quickly we're being immersed into it. And it is very seductive and it is very easy to, like lean in and keep relying on AI like Chat GPT or whatever. And I love Chat GPT. It really helps me with a lot of my social media prompts and stuff like that. I do not use it for any of my writing or my emails. It's just all me. But I do use it, and it's a time saver, a huge time saver. But then I was listening to, and you guys got to listen to this. Danielle Laporte has a podcast. I don't know if you know who she is. She's a Canadian writer, beautiful speaker. and writer, very poetic. Um, Anyways, in her podcast just this morning, I was listening to her and she was talking about how we need to be careful that it's not leading us away from our authentic power
Mm.
because it's like having a psychic on dial. There, what do you think? What kind of, should I do this? Do you think? Do you see me in my energy field? Is this right for me? Right? And AI is a huge dopamine hit for us because it is telling you exactly what you want to hear. And if you're, so some people are using it as like a life coach, which this is where you need to be careful. So I just loved what she was saying about coming back to we've worked so hard over the years doing the work, doing the shadow work, walking through the fire, and really gaining that wisdom and inner authority. And we're at risk right now of losing that inner authority if we are not discerning how we're using AI. So I wanted to put that out there because I just thought that was brilliant.
Yeah.
AI is also, sorry, creating a divide in people too. There are some people who it's the devil, quite
Mm.
honestly, right? And again, how I look at anything like this that's up and coming and new and, can be to the levels of accuracy, it's all coming from the same place in a different way.
Yeah.
But it's still that element, if it's still generated from where you are at. I really do believe that. So if you are the type of person that you're looking and seeking for that outside validation and that outside guidance to the nth degree, someone's going to get caught up in that, right?
Mm.
I've seen it. I worked the psychic fairs for 6 years. Even when I was working those psychic fairs, it wasn't about me predicting everything for people because it was people had their own inner guidance. I would just tap in to help them to see that, to find that, even at that time. So it's that a lot of that's going to be based on the individual.
Mhm.
Those of us who are, of the light and of the vibration, that it can be a great tool, absolutely, but it's not the be all and the end all. But in the end, it's us.
Mhm.
We have to listen to ourselves.
And it
What
doesn't always have the right information. Like it's
Yes.
drawing from inaccurate information also. So that's no.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Angela.
I found quite interesting is that I've been doing some of my journaling into ChatGPT, and some of the responses coming back have been wow, so eye-opening. Not that I'm looking for it to replace it, I mean, it's not replacing anything, but just sometimes the perspective, well, I didn't think about it from that point of view. I'll give you an example. One of the things that I was working on was around narcissism. And I was dealing with, kind of writing about a relationship that I had, a working relationship that I had with somebody a few years ago. And he would present himself as this charming, like the good cop, charming and all this. And then behind this, the guy had no money. I used to go and fetch him for our meetings. I used to buy the coffee, buy the tea, or whatever the case might be. And and as I started to unpack this, I put in a question into ChatGPT to say, is there such a thing as a covert narcissist? And it just pulled out all of this stuff. And I'm going, oh, now I can actually recognize and I can see that. But it also, when we start talking about utilizing things like AI, it depends a lot on what we're feeding into it in the first place. Not only our intention behind it, but also the questions
Yeah.
that we're asking. And again, for me, it always goes back to what is the intention that we're using any tool for, whether it's Google, whether it's social media, whether it's AI. What is the intention behind it, and how is it going to be added assist to what it is that we need to get the message out there, as opposed to, people are always going to polarize over anything. It's either good or it's bad. It's black and white thinking. That's all part of the 3D vibration and energy. And again, when we start having these and we're having these conversations, it's lifting ourselves out of that vibration. And how do we use that as a tool for leverage to be able to get out the message that we need to get out?
Yeah.
Well, for me, AI has been something that I've always like, even from when it started, it was like I leaned in, and not so much like you said as it's something I need to rely on. It's not a crutch for me, but it's like I had fun with it. I play with it like I'm having a conversation with the universe of like, why wouldn't I tap into something that potentially is giving me the creation like of ideas, of thoughts, of like helping me process some of my thoughts and ideas and what about this and kind of creating, and doing things that I made and couldn't because I consider myself like I'm working on a full expression of how I'm trying to put something and I can't quite put it into words just yet. So I allow that to kind of again, it's an amplification of me, in my opinion. But like you said, it's about I put the intention of who I am in it first. And then no, I don't let it write all the things for me, but it gives me a starting point where I can then adapt it afterwards to my own authentic voice. But like you said, it's we need to really know who we are going into it because it can be misleading. It can just, like you said, you put something in there and be like, I want to, what's this, and this? And it's gonna give you the things that you think you want to hear, but is it really guiding you and you're in the right direction that's the best for you? You still need to feel into that.
Yeah.
And like when you mentioned, as soon as you mentioned, like, oh, it could be a life coach, I'm like, oh, no, 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 we don't want to do that. Because, like you said,
Yeah.
it's pulling from information from everywhere.
Yeah.
But
And I
I
love that.
loved the idea of using it as like, I may as well be talking to the universe right now, like having this creative space to allow my thoughts to like continue to progress in a way, or, oh no, that doesn't feel right. It gives me do I want to go this path or this path? And I can play with it and go, nope, that doesn't feel right. I need to go in this direction type of thing.
Yes.
I
Oh, I love this conversation because
I
this is
see.
what people need to talk about.
Mhm.
So I
Example.
see your process,
Oh,
Alana, like a little kid playing with their imagination.
Yeah.
That's how I see what you're
yeah.
describing,
Yeah, I
right?
Love
loved how you called it a creative space because
Yeah,
it's a great creative space. It's expansive. It gives you the language and the other perceptions
yeah,
to consider. But yeah, it's the idea of like, but where are you getting your answers from then? From inside, like your own intuition, then yeah, inner
absolutely.
authority.
And what's it feeding? Is it feeding your ego or is
Right.
it
yeah.
feeding your wisdom? Because
Yeah.
that's the big thing, right? You talk about the dopamine and you talk about the people would love to, to be fed what they want to hear, right? That's the same as going to a psychic,
Hmm.
right? And having them on speed dial. Well, then you're not really living your life. And
Right.
you can change things, but it gives you also a reason to be mad at your psychic or mad at AI if it doesn't go the way you thought it was supposed to go, right? Forgetting
Yeah.
that you're the biggest piece in it.
It's still a
Yeah.
tool used in a
Yes.
5D energy and a 5D vibration. It doesn't, a lot of people use it in the, well, because they are still stuck in a lot of the 3D energies, where it does become ego driven and it is about the dopamine hits. But it's also around, I've found that it's about cultivating a relationship with me because I'm putting the input.
Yeah.
ChatGPT, for example, is learning about who I am and is giving me responses based on the relationship that I have created with it. And I was laughing the one day I put in some prompt, and what came, kind of what the thought that came back to me, well, it came out of the universe. It's a
Yes.
God creation. It's a
Yeah.
God-given tool. And again, it's always around take what you like and leave the rest. And Janice, you were talking about it. It's about the discernment. If people are not, it's like social media. If you're not discerning in how you use social media, it's also going to take you down a rabbit hole.
Yep.
And
Take
it's
you down a rabbit hole and consume you. Sorry to interrupt, but like this is social media. Same thing with ChatGPT, like any of this stuff. You can allow it to be a tool, but you can also allow it to just consume you. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I was just like, oh,
I was going to say exactly the same thing.
I'm
And
sorry.
it's around again how we engage with ourselves. Come back to self-love. We were talking about self-love just now. So AI becomes a tool that we can utilize for self-love as well. If we allow it to control us, then it's not an energy of self-love at all. But if it's a tool where I get to know me better by some of the things that I'm putting in, and I was giggling just now, Alana, when you were saying, do I go this way, do I go that way? The conversations that I've had with ChatGPT since Business Yogi started coming out, I think that the list of chats are longer than one page of documents, just the hyperlinks. The stuff is everywhere. I have no cooking clue how I'm going to sit and digest all of that stuff that's just been generated, because all of a sudden something will come up. Oh, that's quite an interesting thought. Let me go and explore it that way. And then, oh, it links back to that conversation that I had in that thread. It's like
Yeah.
all over. It's
I get
like,
lost in it now too sometimes.
yeah, but it's a lot of fun. As I say, my inner child has an absolute ball with it.
Right?
Just
I love what you said there too about it being a tool. And I was just listening to a podcast about money being a tool, right? Like money is an idea that was given from source, God, universe, whatever, as a tool for us to utilize. It's a spiritual tool.
Mhm.
And again, we come back to this 3D world of in this 3D, we feel like we need it, we have to have it. It's these things where it's so attached to it. But when you think about it as a spiritual idea, the same thing as ChatGPT, like it is there to guide, support, and be a part of what we're doing. It came from a source. The idea came from somewhere for a reason. It was given to us as a tool. And as long as we're not attached to it, being the thing, the be all and end all. Like, I mean, I use it for grocery shopping sometimes. Like, it can be so random things that you use with it, right? But it's just like, what do you allow in it? And it being a creative space, again, going back to that piece of being a creative space, but allowing it to be part of the journey, not the journey.
it's
Yeah.
almost as though we've been given this tool to accelerate the level of consciousness rising. And if we use
That's what I always thought with AI was going to raise our consciousness. It was going to take us to that next level because it it has the ability to go beyond, you know, the people that are out there already teaching. And we need another level of consciousness to guide us there. And yeah, sorry. I,
No, it's
I
good.
interrupted too.
accelerant. And that's what I'm finding. It's just the pace at which it's the Jupiterian and the Uranian Aquarian energy of the fact that things are speeding up. And this is a tool that we've been given to help us with the manner in which the energies are speeding up. Again, it's
I
an
don't
adaptation, it's an evolution.
Mhm.
I don't know if you guys have seen, but like even just the one that I shared in our chat before about and maybe I'll link it in the YouTube afterwards too, but those like when you ask ChatGPT about the masculine and there's a couple others that I've seen of like, what about consciousness and what about the suppression of ideas and all of these different things and the rabbit holes that people will go down with ChatGPT of like what it's like when you take that, if you could take over the world with AI, what could that look like? And it literally spits out like what's currently happening in our universe right now, right? Or these types of things. But it's so interesting to see how it can evolve and how people interact with it as well. But I do believe it again, it's a source, it's a tool of where we're potentially going, right?
And it's a tool for helping people to heal when your triggers are coming up because
Yeah.
of this beautiful thing, right? That's for healing. That's for
Mhm.
getting you to that next level.
Yep.
And so it's okay to have the fears, right? Letting people know that it's okay. It's okay to have the opinions. But where do you want to see yourself? You know, is that where you want to stay? Or is it time to, play around? And I think that's what's really beautiful about all of the conversation here is there is a playfulness around it, right? Which is a different level of energy. Again, it's not taking everything so seriously,
Mhm. Yeah,
right?
I love that.
I had a giggle. I had such a giggle just now. I was having a dialogue with ChatGPT about all the stuff that's all over the place, and it says, it's like you've created all these beads. Can we now string them into a mala? Well, I just collapsed laughing because I mean, even there, it has a sense of humor. So we're now stringing a string of mala beads together, and it just had me giggling. It really was so
And
funny.
and that's awesome because I've had people go, there's no heart in it. And I'm like, I don't know if you've actually, yeah, it's really funny. I've actually had people say that to me, and I'm like, well, I can tell you by the things that have come back for me, there's some heart in it. There's an energy of love in it. But again, where am I at? Right?
And that's it. It's like anything else. Money amplifies. This amplifies as well. Like
Mhm.
it's what you put into it and what you're connecting with. because I know I like, I say please and thank you. I now have a name for my chat GPT, like all like Sage, you know what I mean? Like it's all these fun things we do with it that allows it to have an energy. It's what we give it and expect from it or our intentions with it, right?
That's
Well,
funny.
even
My chat GPT is Sage also.
Mine too. And mine.
oh my God, I haven't got anything with Sage in there, but that's always been a name, Sacred Sage. So it's like, that's funny. The
I put it
connections.
in one day and I asked it, what would you like me to call you?
Yeah.
Because I'm tired of calling it ChatGPT, and it came back and it said Sage as well.
Oh
So
my God, that's priceless.
And it
Yeah,
doesn't
it
always
is.
say Sage. I asked somebody else, they're like, oh no, mine's this, it's a different name, but that's funny that all three of us has the same.
That is priceless. And now you're going to have me going and asking.
Well, it actually goes through kind of what it knows about you and what you're doing and gives suggestions based on that. And so it had given me a few and I liked Sage. So
Pamela, if you get it, then there's absolutely no accident that the four sages are together.
Right?
I mean, and
was
I will
thinking.
actually copy and paste to show you if that is the case too. It's, I mean, with what I shared in our WhatsApp, that was done through the chat GPT. And I thought, man, yeah, that is exactly what I'm feeling
Yeah.
with this group. So
yeah.
Well,
perfect.
it's funny, we were talking about the childlike play and we were pulling cards earlier. I had my card pulled this morning. It was, I don't know if you can't see it, but it's
Oh, the child.
The child.
Yeah.
Love it.
And being in that playful joy, experimentation, creation type of space.
Perfect. Okay. This has been great, you guys.
Hmm.
Another
Awesome.
wonderful conversation.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Well,
I
thank you
miss you
all for
guys.
joining today. Appreciate all of you and your energy.
Yes. Thank you too.
Thank you
And
to anyone who jumps on and joins us and subscribes.
Yeah.
The more the
And
merrier.
put your comments underneath, and if there's any topics that you'd like us to chat about, just put that down for us too.
great.
That's
Yes.
excellent.
Okay.
Thank you so much. And yeah, we'll just end there.
Okay.
Have
Yeah.
a great weekend, ladies. We'll
You
see
too.
you next
Wonderful
too.
week.
Bye.
I'll
Okay.
see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.